The first ever perfect speedrun of Splatoon 1 just happened. Now this wasn't performed in one full speedrun by an individual player, instead this is what's called a BTT. BTT stands for Best Theoretical Time, and it's used to show what peak speedrunning performance would look like. This is done by splitting the game into individual segments that then get spliced together in an editing software to make it look like one continuous speedrun. In total, there are 116 segments, played out by 9 speedrunners, each one grinding it out to near perfection. This speedrun is not meant to compete on leaderboards, it's meant for entertainment and helping speedrunners see how they can improve their world records. This BTT is for Splatoon's New Game Plus category. This speedrun is played from a completed file with every single level unlocked and every upgrade obtained. And the goal is to beat every level in whatever order you want. Now that I've explained all of that, this is the perfect Splatoon speedrun explained. One thing to note about the BTT is that a lot of it is just clean and optimized movement, so I won't be going in depth on all of that. Instead, I'll be going over some of the craziest tricks, skips, and tricky segments so that you can understand how tough this speedrun is. One of the hardest levels is level 1-1 because of a trick so hard that it isn't even attempted in full game runs called ledge wall jump. At the beginning of the level, you can paint this wall to the right, then use this small ledge to swim up like it's a wall to just barely make it to the wall above. This skips having to go around the normal way. You have just a few frames to time your jump to get this skip to work, all to save 1 second. At the end of 1-2, you usually have to use the cannon to scale the wall, but by using just a couple of burst bombs, speedrunners can beat the level without the cannon. This is called cannonless. This trick is used in regular any % speedruns, but since you can have fully upgraded burst bombs in this speedrun, it makes the trick faster and easier. Octostomp is the first of the 5 bosses speedrunners will have to beat in the speedrun. This is the perfect time to talk about a crucial technique that will be used throughout the run. The rapid fire glitch. Every time you switch sub-weapons on the D-pad, the game will fire an extra pellet from your main weapon. By mashing the D-pad, you can shred bosses in seconds. This technique is harder in New Game Plus because the maxed out hero shot already has a high fire rate, but you can sneak in a couple of extra shots with good enough mashing. There's another form of cannonless on 2-5. At the end section, you can use burst bombs on top of each sponge to get across safely. Speedrunners have to time a burst bomb on top of each sponge to avoid having to slowly climb up them. Each burst bomb throw has to be precise or else you'll fall into the void and die. One of the most interesting glitches happens in 2-8. This is Octoling glitch. Octolings are Rotarian versions of the player Inklings, and therefore a lot of their code is similar to the player, including the fact that if an Octoling touches the Zapfish to finish the stage, then the game will think that you beat it. This usually would never happen under normal gameplay since Octarians are never near Zapfish, but if you use a Splat Bomb to open up the Zapfish, then this Octoling who is programmed to fly across the stage will hit the Zapfish and complete the level for you. Now it's time for 3 of the most difficult tricks in the run: Fugo Skip, Messiah Skip, and Gusher Jump. Let's talk about Fugo Skip first. Level 3-10 is laid out in a way to where if you can make it to this structure, then you can activate the ink rail with a burst bomb to skip the whole level. But you quickly find that just jumping towards it won't help. You need some assistance. Luckily we have our friend Dave the Octarian to help give us that boost. By using a setup to align ourselves with the structure, we can jump and have Dave shoot at us, giving us that extra momentum to just barely make it over to the other side. From there, we can beat the whole level. The BTT doesn't use any form of setup for this trick. Instead, they do the faster YOLO Fugo Skip, where they just go for the jump and hope that Dave shoots at them. No one would ever go for this in a full game run because of how lucky you have to be for it to work, but this does save 3 seconds. Messiah Skip happens in the level directly after this. Usually you'd have to go on this side quest to get a key to unlock a lockbox to get further in the level, but just like ledge wall jump, you can use the ledge of this grate to boost ourselves onto this metal pole to skip getting the key. And the last trick of this 3-peat of difficult jumps is Gusher Jump. If you time a jump on the last few frames of a gusher going up, then you will carry some of that momentum and get a higher jump. We can use this to get to the high ground early and skip going around. These 3 skips together are a marathon of pure agony. If you watch a regular New Game Plus run, then you'll see speedrunners start with these 3 levels to get them out of the way early. The Lesser World 3 features some of the tightest movement in any Splatoon speedrun, including this moment in 3-13 where there's only a few pixels to climb up the wall. 5-24 is what we call a cycle level. Cycles are a speedrunning term to describe a repeating cycle that runners need to catch at a certain time in order to either save time or not lose time. Now, there have been plenty of cycle levels shown off earlier in the speedrun, but none of them come close to the difficulty of the 5-24 Scream cycle. If you go fast enough in this level, you can make it to this windmill 1 cycle earlier than normal. In full game 80% runs, this is only reserved for the top level of gameplay, but in New Game Plus, this cycle is pretty easy. 5-23 has this BTT only strategy near the middle of the level. You can take this tight jump to the balloon in the middle to save a second from going to the sponge on the left. This looks trivially easy, but you only have a few pixels to make the jump. At the end, you're usually supposed to have a long drawn out fight between 2 octolings, but we can manipulate where each one will spawn if we go down the right side and throw a splat bomb to the top left of the map. This will kill the octoling the moment they touch the ground. Then the next octoling will spawn right next to us 100% of the time, making this usually annoying section trivial. 5-22 has another near frame perfect trick, the Great Bounce. Usually you'd have to wait for these blocks to go into formation before you can use the super jump pad, but if you time a squid and unsquid perfectly, you can get an extra bounce to just barely get you to the super jump pad. At the end of 4-21, speedrunners use the rapid fire glitch with the Inkzuka to get an absurd amount of shots. The Octo Striker has to glide perfectly towards you for this to work, which is really rare and speedrunners don't know why it's inconsistent. Octomore is one of the most impressive levels in the run. Usually you have to slowly shoot out each of his teeth in order to attack him, but with the rapid fire glitch, speedrunners can remove all his teeth in a matter of seconds. Just like the dentist who told me that Skittles' original fruit was not suitable for a balanced diet, and then had to remove 32 cavities. 4-16 has one of the hardest strategies in the speedrun. In the water ride checkpoint, you must hit the fan in such a way that it moves as little as possible, so it gets back to the other side quicker. They shoot the fan as early as possible so it travels a shorter distance towards you. Not only is doing these shots hard, but making the jump is even harder. 4-19 is a level designed around cycles. Every single platform is moving, so if you're too slow then you'll miss a cycle and lose time. The BTT shows off how tight your movement has to be to catch each cycle. They often have to make pixel perfect jumps just to catch the best cycle possible. Now it's time for the final boss, DJ Octavio. Octavio is the most complex level in the run. Not only is it the longest, but you have to plan out what to do in each of his 5 phases. You might think that speedrunners will simply do the rapid fire glitch on each one of his attacks, but that is wrong. While yes, there is a lot of rapid fire glitch, speedrunners will also do what's called normals and delays. Normals are where you tap the fist twice with your gun, then shoot it normally. This will do a set amount of knockback. This is the same as a delay. If the fist is far away, then it's useful to use a burst bomb to slow down the fist and let it hit Octavio as late as possible. If a fist hits Octavio while his machine is green, then the fist will do full damage. Normals and delays help speedrunners get Octavio into a position to do fist skips. If you can do enough knockback to Octavio, then he will skip doing another set of fists and then go straight to his subwoofer attack. Each phase ends off with subwoofer tennis, where you use the rapid fire glitch to shoot the subwoofer back to Octavio in record time. By using rapid fire glitch, normals, delays, and fist skips, speedrunners are able to beat Octavio in just over 6 minutes. And just like that, the best theoretical time for humans is 45 minutes and 25 seconds, saving over 1.5 minutes over the world record. But this doesn't have to be the true limit. Speedrunners will eventually sharpen their movement even more, find new tricks, and push this time down to places no one could ever imagine. At the end of a Splatoon 2 speedrun, you have to fight Callie and DJ Octavio. The RNG for the perfect fight is 1 in 5,832, or a 0.0171% chance. That's less likely than getting a shiny Pokemon. But how did we get here? In this video, I'll explain how speedrunners beat Splatoon 2 in under an hour and a half with this world record of 1 hour, 23 minutes and 31 seconds by launch row. The timer starts once we enter Octo Canyon, and already there are 2 questions that I need to answer. Question 1. Why is the timer at 2 minutes when you said the time starts once you enter the story mode? Recently, there was a change in the rules to have the time start at the beginning of the story mode and not at the character select screen. This eliminates doing the tutorial and going through the beginning cutscenes. All previous runs got a time cut of 2 minutes and 10 seconds to compensate. Question 2. Why does the game look blue? We don't know. Launcho says he's only seen it twice on 1.0, and this time happened to be the world record. Also, he's running on version 1.0 of the game. That saves around 18 seconds on faster load times over the most recent version. To start off the run, speedrunners skip level 1 and instead they play level 2 first. You can play any level in a world in whatever order you want, so overworld routing is simply about the shortest time between levels. In the splits, you might notice some numbers next to the level names. This shows how many power eggs speedrunners want to have at the end of a level. Power eggs are used to upgrade weapons and unlock extra sub-weapons. The goal right now is to get 500 power eggs before level 7 to unlock the curling bomb. But we'll talk about that later. For now, let's see how speedrunners tackle each level. You'll notice that speedrunners will always try and paint a line of ink in front of them to swim through, as that is the fastest way to move around the levels. This system of inking and swimming is the base of movement in a Splatoon speedrun. Around halfway through the level, speedrunners will jump off the map to hit this launch pad. This skips having to climb up this wall and walk across the grates. You can't swim through grates, so any chance to skip them is a must. Around 2/3 of the way through the level, you can do this precise jump to skip a corner. Level 3 is the perfect example of movement in a Splatoon speedrun. The way speedrunners always have ink underneath their feet makes it so satisfying to watch. There's also this tie jump here and this very specifically placed box, almost like they want you to use it to skip the corner. Coincidence? I think not. Once we leave this level, we can perform a level jump. If you have a level unlocked, then you can super jump to it from the pause screen. We can use it here to save swimming from level 3 to level 1, and by doing level 1 last, it also shortens the distance to the boss fight. At the beginning of level 1, we see another suspiciously placed jump that allows us to skip the corner. You'll notice that speedrunners don't pay attention to the Octarians as they are dumb and don't pose a challenge. We can see a perfect example of that at the end of the level. Even when there are 16 Octarians here to strike you down, they are powerless to the simple strategy of just ignoring them. Now that all 3 levels have been beaten, it's time to fight the first boss, the Octo Toaster. Wait, it's an oven? I don't care, I'm calling it a toaster. Once we land in the boss arena, speedrunners will restart the level as soon as possible. This is because usually there would be a long cutscene for the boss, but by restarting the level, the game will let us skip the cutscene. This fight doesn't go too differently from a normal playthrough, though speedrunners do pre-paint the walls when Octo Toaster is attacking, so they don't have to waste time when they're actually climbing up. They also throw a splat bomb on top of the toaster before the bread fully pops out to hopefully get a bit of damage onto the tentacle before climbing up. But with Octo Toaster defeated, we can move on to World 2. Now we have to talk about overworld routing. The goal is to beat every level in a world with the fewest overworld movement possible. One way we do that is with early level unlocks. We can see a perfect example of this at the start of World 2. Instead of walking around and climbing this structure like normal to unlock the level, you can throw splat bombs from the ground to unlock the level early. And since we have the level unlocked, we can super jump to it, saving time over walking around the normal way. There isn't much to talk about with level 4, but it is our first showcase of weapon loans. Every level from now on forces you to use a certain weapon type to play through it. I will mention it when they come up. After beating the level, speedrunners will do another early unlock on level 9, but instead of immediately super jumping to it, they take this boost panel and do level 8. That's because there'd be a lot of time wasted going from level 9 to level 8, but by doing level 8 first, they can super jump to level 9 whenever they want, skipping that unnecessary overworld movement. Around halfway through level 8, speedrunners will perform what's called a furler boost. These furlers will extend out whenever player ink touches them, but if you're slightly forward on a furler whilst it's extending, you will move with the furler at the same speed. Furler boosts are precise and difficult. If you're too far back on the furler, then you won't get boosted with it, but if you're too far forward, then you'll get pushed off. Difficult trick, but it's very satisfying. After beating level 8, we move along to this part of the world where there are 3 levels in a row with varying elevation. Speedrunners will use bombs to early unlock the levels to the left and right, and then shoot the one in front of them normally. Now we can super jump to any level in the world whenever we want. Level 6 introduces us to the splat charger and grapplings. Grapplings let you grapple to wherever the link is when you hit it with your ink. The splat charger is a great way to show off this mechanic. Halfway through the level, speedrunners will pick up the stingray special, but they won't use it yet. Instead, they'll use it here. How in the hell did they skip the majority of the level? Well, grapplings only need one condition to be met to work. Your ink needs to touch it, and the stingray special is a giant laser that goes across the entire level. So if that stingray hits a grappling further into the level, it will activate and grab you halfway across the entire level and save a bunch of time. Take a shot every time I said level. Level 5 is one of the coolest levels in the speedrun because it introduces us to 2 of the coolest mechanics, the splat dualies and grind rails. Dualies allow you to do a dodge roll. If you shoot, then press B, and we can use this mechanic alongside the grind rails to get extra speed. Grind rails also allow you to do some sick skips like this one near the beginning of the level and this one halfway through, where you jump off at the perfect height to find a hidden grind rail to save time. Speedrunners also collect a sardinium in this level, but I'll touch up on that when we get to it, but don't forget about it. Now that we have 500 power eggs, speedrunners will super jump back to World 1 to use the Ammo Knight's enhancer. We have just enough to unlock the curling bomb, the most important sub-weapon for the speedrun. Curling bomb paints a line of ink in front of you to follow behind. For the rest of the run, you'll see speedrunners swim behind their curling bombs a lot. We see this in full effect in level 9, the first of many octoling levels. These levels put you on one of the multiplayer maps and challenge you to break free 8 small zapfish while enemy octolings try to kill you. With the curling bomb, we can take a very quick and direct path from small zapfish to small zapfish. It also helps that we don't have to worry about breaking the zapfish open, as the curling bomb will do that for us. All of this allows speedrunners to beat that level in under 40 seconds. Level 7 introduces us to giant squeegees. All they want to do is vacuum any ink that we put onto the ground, but we can use that to our advantage. Most of the level is spent going fast with curling bombs, including this tight jump around a squeegee to get to the super jump pad. At the final section of the level, the game wants you to ride the squeegee and lead it to the end to get to the goal. This is often a struggle for players casually playing through the game because the squeegee will often get sidetracked. But by just throwing a curling bomb in front of it, the squeegee will follow the ink trail it leaves behind and make the level very easy. If we didn't have curling bombs, this final area would take at least 5 times longer. Now it's on to the boss of World 2, the Octo Samurai. Once again, speedrunners will restart the level once they get to the boss arena so they can skip the cutscene. The main strategy in this fight is to simply whack him with the roller as much as possible. If you get right up in his face, there's not much he can do about it. With Octo Samurai defeated, it's time to move on to World 3. Level 11 introduces him. These guys get startled easily and love to send you on Looney Tunes chases for minutes at a time. No problem for the speedrunner. These guys might like to run away, but they cannot hide. Around 1/3 into the level, there's this jump which on paper looks impossible. How are you able to clear such a massive jump from a fence? Usually fences like to halt your momentum when you go through them, but if you jump, unsquid for a few frames, then go back into squid form, then you can make the jump. I cannot understate how tight this jump is. I challenge you to boot up your own game with Splatoon 2 and try for yourself. It is very hard. How much time does it save? 5 seconds. At the end of the level, you have 6 fleeing foes trying to run away from you with only one of them having the key. Speedrunners use this curling bomb and the splat bomb to lure them into a corner and easily splat the one with the key. Level 13 introduces us to the Splatling, Splatoon's take on the machine gun. Most of this level just involves movement with curling bombs, but because of the range that the Splatling has, we can do some grappling skips, including this one at the end of the level. You'd usually have to navigate around this maze and do a puzzle, but with this conveniently placed grappling, we can simply use the range of the Splatling to just go up and beat the level, skipping the maze. The Splatling's range helps us get this early unlock on level 15. Speedrunners are careful to switch to dualies in this level for extra movement. Since the Splatling is a heavy weapon, you move slower in your ink. Switching to dualies will eliminate that. If you accidentally use Splatling in this level, you lose 15 seconds. This is another Octoling level, so the main thing is to keep moving. Curling bombs and dually dodge rolls allow speedrunners to beat this Octoling level in under 40 seconds. Level 12 is one of the most satisfying levels to watch in the speedrun. It introduces bounce pads, but speedrunners like to stay in squid form on bounce pads for more speed and less airtime. Halfway through the level, there's a section where the developers intend you to bounce your way down, but it's faster to just jump off at the very start and fall down to the end of the section. This section at the end is on a cycle, if you're fast enough that you can just barely squeeze through at the end. Luckily for us, Launcher was good at video games and was able to hit the cycle. Level 10 introduces a new weapon, the Slosher. Sloshers are really good in this speedrun. It paints a consistent line of ink in front of you like a curling bomb and is very good at inking sponges, although we won't get to see much of it because of Seeker Skip. This level has Octo Seekers. If these guys notice you or one of your bombs, they will track you down and try to squish you, but we can use that to our advantage. By getting the Octo Seeker to go down in this particular area, then by throwing bombs in front of it, the Octo Seeker gets confused and goes out of the bounds of the area it's meant to be in. We can then lure it to this area further along in the level, then we can jump off and move along to the final checkpoint. And just like that, you can save a minute in the speedrun. From one insane skip to another, we have level 14. There are 2 skips in this level, car wash skip and key skip. Near the beginning of the level, there is this car wash. By using a curling bomb to get underneath this pillar, you can damage boost and jump on the pillar to skip the section. It saves 5 seconds but loses 20 if you die. Luckily, Lontro is good at video games and gets to skip. At the final section of the level, you're meant to find a key to unlock this box containing a grind rail to the goal, but by precisely throwing a curling bomb in the middle of the lockbox, it can clip inside and hit the grind rail while it's still inside the box. It's a pixel perfect trick and can save 10 seconds. Unfortunately, not everyone is perfect. Launcher goes for this trick in the world record but doesn't get it right away, so he ends up getting around the same time that someone would get without key skip. Now that we've beaten every level in World 3, it's time for the Octo Stomp fight. We could use this grind rail to get down to him normally, or we could jump off the grind rail and hit a sick trick shot with the charger to grappling down to the boss. During this fight, we have to use the dualies. Not the best weapon, but we have to use what we're given. In the second and third phases, we can use some position manipulation to get Octostomp to do what we want. If we stand in particular places in the arena, Octostomp's AI will do the same thing every time. So it's just a case of learning the positions and getting quick kills on Octostomp. Now that we've beaten him, it's time to move on to World 4. At the start of World 4, we use Splat Bombs to get an early unlock on level 16, then we go over and play level 17. This level doesn't have any skips, it's all about clean curling bomb throws and slosher movement. If you're fast enough, then you can catch this sucker at the end of the level. The main goal now is to get 800 power X before the final boss so we can upgrade our hero shot to level 2. Level 16 will be the last level where we use level 1 hero shot, because from now on there won't be any level that forces you to use it until the final boss. Level 16 is another movement heavy level with this tight cycle you can just barely hit if you're going fast enough. The bowling balls are not that scary because the hitbox is smaller than you think. Doesn't mean you shouldn't look out for them. On our way to level 21, we early unlock level 18, then do this tight jump to avoid breaking these boxes. Level 21 is another Octoling level, so it's important to yet again equip the Splat Dualies. Like all the previous Octoling levels, curling bombs are the way to go. These snipers have a chance at hitting you, but if you're going fast enough then it won't matter. Level 20 introduces the Splat Brother, a shotgun mixed with a shield, although we won't be using the shield at all. Brella is nice because it paints a consistent line of paint in front of you, like a slosher. This level also introduces invisible platforms. What will the speedrunner do? Oh wait, they have the entire level memorized. Near the end of the level, speedrunners do a cool strategy where they launch a curling bomb to their right to hit a fan, whilst they are standing on the other side so they can jump off the rising platform as soon as possible. Level 18 is one of the most entertaining levels in the speedrun because there's an auto scroller in the middle. By the way, if you're liking the video, make sure to subscribe because I'm the only person making Splatoon speedrunning content and I think you'd like more of what I'm cooking up. And we're done with that auto scroller. Can't wait to see what the rest of the level is like. There's another auto scroller? Woo, speedrunners beat the level. Wow, how amazing. Time for level 19 where we're introduced to the blaster. Blaster is one of the worst weapons in the game. Not only does it have a slow fire rate, it also has awful jump RNG. Also doesn't help that we have to use it in one of the longest regular levels in the entire game. The goal of this level is to enter these 3 launch pads to complete a few challenges to get 3 keys to beat the level. Once we get all 3 keys, it's off to the final section with 3 giant squeegees. You know how earlier we had to use bombs to get these squeegees to move? Well, blasters are really good at leading squeegees in the right direction. Blasters can at least do something right. Octo Shower is one of the weirdest bosses in the game. Not because of the fight or anything, that part is simple. Just use partial charges to kill the minions and a full charge to kill the last one in all 3 phases. But you know how we restart the level so we can skip the first cutscene? For whatever reason, Octo Shower is the only boss where we can skip multiple cutscenes by doing that. We can skip the first cutscene like usual, but we can also skip the third. We have to watch the second and fourth cutscene, but we can skip the third. No other boss is like this and we have no idea why it's like that. But now we can move on to World 5. This world is unlike any other because it's the largest in the entire game and all the levels are very spread out amongst it. That doesn't mean that there aren't any cool strategies. We start by doing the hardest level unlock in the game. Level 22 is on an invisible platform, so it's basically impossible to see. But speedrunners grab the charger, jump off the map, snipe the level, then throw a splat bomb and hopefully during the death animation, the level opens. If you miss the shot, you lose 15 seconds. We then switch to a splat link to quickly unlock level 23, then jump back to level 22 and switch to dualies. We then do dually grind rail tech to make it to the saucer just in time. Then we switch back to Splatling. 4 weapon switches in 1 overworld segment. The reason we switch to Splatling is because on our way to level 26, there are some ink switches that are kinda far away, and only the Splatling can reach it. Level 26 can be a bit dangerous. It features the bowling balls from earlier. If they hit you, they deal a lot of knockback, and this level is surrounded by water. It is especially important to not die in this level in particular because you are trying to hold on to this ink storm special until the very end. And if you die at any point, then you lose the special. We use the ink storm at the very end to hit a switch to raise the platform, letting us beat the level. Level 25 is another level where it is especially important to not die. At the end, there's this spinner where you have to hit repeatedly to raise to the goal. So we save an ink storm from the beginning to let us hit the spinner for us. If we die at any point in the level, we lose the ink storm and then we're in trouble. On our way to level 24, we do a quick unlock on level 27. People often consider level 24 to be the hardest level in the speedrun. This level is all about tight movement and hitting cycles. One slight mistake and you will die. At the end, you have to hit 7 switches to get a key. You can use a bomb to paint the switch underneath the box without breaking it. A very nice time save. Luckily, Launcher was able to get a very clean level 24. Level 22 introduces us to the last normal weapon. Octobrush is nice because it's designed to move around fast while rolling, so oftentimes you won't need to use curling bombs. There is a cool strategy at the end where you save this curling bomb special rush until now, so when you hop on the giant squeegee, you can spam curling bombs and get it to where you want it to go. Level 23 is another dually grind rail level, so of course it's got some insane movement. Jumping over ink sticks, dodge rolling down these grind rails, jumping off the map to catch the same grind rails you were just on, all important tech for this level. Now it's time for the final level in the main game. Make sure you equip dualies because it's time for another octoling level. We actually don't use curling bombs in this level because of how the stage is laid out. It's faster to move around with dualies and use splat bombs to free the small Zapfish. And just like that, it's time for the Octavio boss fight. But before that, we have to go back to World 1 to to upgrade our hero shot from level 1 to level 2. This is where we use our Sardiniums from ages ago. Now it's orange. We can't do the restart strategy for this fight unfortunately, so we'll have to watch the whole cutscene. Now we get to talk about my favorite thing in the whole wide world. RNG. RNG stands for Random Number Generator. Every random event in a game is RNG. Octavio's RNG is for his attacks. What you need to know is that punch attack good, spin attack bad. You can't damage Octavio if he throws out a spin attack, so every time he does that, you lose time. In phase 1, these first punch attacks are there 100% of the time. Next, he will do either a punch or spin attack, 50% chance you lose time. Then he'll do a splat bomb attack. Nothing we can do here. Then he'll do another 2 punch or spin attacks. 2 separate 50-50 chances to get the punch. Then he'll do another splat bomb rush instead of punches before the ink shower attack, and the cycle repeats. If you get perfect luck here, then you'll be done with the first phase before the second splat bomb rush happens. That's a 1 in 8 chance or 12.50%. In the world record, Launcho gets 1 spin punch, losing him 8 seconds. In phase 2, Octavio starts with 2 punch attacks guaranteed 100% of the time. Then he'll do one of his new attacks for this phase, a suction bomb rush or a calamari rush. Getting a calamari rush is slightly faster. Then he'll do 2 attacks that could either be a punch or a spin. There's a 25% chance for 2 punches. Then he'll repeat the cycle of either suction bomb rush or calamari rush into 2 random attacks and end it off with an ink shower. Getting a perfect run here would be 3/81 or 3.7%. In this run, Launcho gets Calamari Rush both times and 6 out of 8 punches. This is one of the best phase 2 cycles that he could have gotten and saves so much time over a decent phase 2. He loses around 16 seconds to not getting all punches, but still a very good phase 2. In phase 3, Octavio starts with 1 dash attack that could either be a punch or a spin. Then it goes into either a suction bomb rush or calamari rush attack. After that, there are 2 regular attacks like before, but now it includes dash attacks. Then it goes back into a suction bomb rush or calamari rush into 2 regular attacks, but this time without the possibility of a dash attack. Then he does an ink shower and the cycle repeats. Getting a perfect run here is also a 3/81 chance or 3.7%. In this run, Launcho gets 2 out of 4 calamari rushes and 7 out of 16 punches. Definitely his worst phase this run, but not the worst he could get. He loses around a minute due to getting spins and seeing the ink shower. In phase 4, you're given the Rainmaker. This part is practically 100% consistent because Octavio will only throw dash punches with 1 punch and 1 spin. All that's left to do is hit those shots, send Octavio down and dunk the Rainmaker on his head to finish the run. The chance at a perfect run in the Octavio fight is 1 out of 5,832 or 0.0171%. There's no way anyone is going to get that during a run, but getting a good or bad Octavio can make or break a run. Having a good run die at the very end because of Octavio feels devastating, but having a bad run get carried by Octavio feels amazing. Sometimes Octavio just feeds you a free PB and sometimes he sends you back home. That's the life of a Splatoon 2 speedrunner. Thank you for watching until the end. I'd like to thank Launcho for personally helping me with this video and making sure all the information is correct. What is the greatest speedrun of all time? Some of you might have thought of Green Squeegee's 16-star world record in Super Mario 64. A few of you might have thought of KD4's Sonic Adventure 2 Battle World Record. And I definitely know a few of you thought of Tyrone 18's Sub 56 Super Mario Odyssey world record. But I would like to add one more speedrun to that list. This is 10540. The greatest Splatoon speedrun of all time. Meet Royluke, a Splatoon speedrunner from Switzerland. Roylo is the greatest Octo expansion speedrunner the game has ever seen, currently holding the world record in all 5 main categories. On the 22nd of May 2024, Roylo started a run of Octo expansion. Little did he know how legendary this run would become. To start, Roylo is playing the game in Russian. Russian is the fastest language for speedruns because it has less dialogue boxes. One thing to note note is that you can only use the Russian language if you're on a European version of the game, since Splatoon 2 is region locked. Next, he plays the tutorial. Octo Expansion gives you a nice playground for you to get used to the game, with the goal of finding a key to unlock this box to progress further in the game. Roylo uses a splat bomb to activate the ink line to get to the key as fast as possible. Then, right before he has his weapon taken away, he throws a splat bomb over the wall. This is because there is a chance that the ink drop from the explosion could be in a good place for you to swim through, saving just a bit of time. Unfortunately, splat bomb explosions are completely random, but it doesn't waste any time to throw the bomb, and even if you don't get a good explosion, then it doesn't even lose much time, so every speedrunner just goes for it. The next 3 minutes of the run is spent mashing through dialogue boxes. This is where the majority of the time save of using Russian comes from. But after a quick arthritis simulator, it's time for the first level, AO5. Speedrunners have some tricks to make this level easier. They throw a splat bomb over to these boxes right before the cutscene starts so that it explodes and gives runners an easier kill in the first octoling. Then they do a similar thing in the second room where they throw a splat bomb right after the cutscene to get a quick kill on the roller. Then they go over to the side to kill the Brella. Then in the final room, they have to react to where the inkjet goes and throw a splat bomb at their feet to kill them instantly. Roylo only loses around 2 seconds to the best known time here. Then we get introduced to the railway map, where there are 4 things that we need to collect by beating levels, 2 on the left side and 2 on the right side. We can choose which side we want to go to first, but it doesn't really matter which side you do in what order, but speedrunners often do the right side first, as most of the hardest levels in the game are on that side, so it's better to get them out of the way as soon as possible. AO6 is just a simple get to the goal level. The tricky thing about this stage is a term that every speedrunner dreads: cycles. In AO6, there are these ink sticks. If you are just slightly slower, then they won't be in the right place and you'll lose time. AO7 is an inkjet level. Inkjet works differently in Octo Expansion compared to the latest game in the franchise, Splatoon 3. Every single weapon in this game is based off the 3.1.0 version of Splatoon 2, so any changes that have happened to weapons since then is not in this game. This means that Inkjet has its old jump boost. This can make movement feel clunky to anyone who has played a lot of Splatoon 3, but we can still do some skips with the Inkjet. We can get up onto this beam by using this moving wall as a boost. Then we enter and exit squid form to reset the height from the Inkjet. Then we do the enter and exit squid form trick on this wall and try to make it over to the other side. Usually we would have to get the checkpoint and respawn on the other side, but community member Owen developed a strategy to beat the level deathless. Roylo precisely hits the spinner to barely make it to the block without dying. This strategy was thought to only be useful in individual level runs. But this game has become so optimized that tricks like this have to be used at top level. Now it's time for CO3, the first 8-ball level. Luckily in the speedrun, we only have to do 2 out of the 10 8-ball levels, but it's still an 8-ball level, so it's going to be difficult. So how does the 8-ball work? It's actually quite simple. The game draws a line from the center of you and the center of the 8-ball, and that's where it will go when you shoot it. This is often why casual players struggle on these levels. They try and shoot it like it's actually an 8-ball. It doesn't matter where you shoot the 8-ball, all that matters is where the player character is. Roylo has mastered the 8-ball physics and has fine control over it, wasting no time in this level. CO2 is a limited ink level. Luckily the game gives us just enough ink to barely get to the final block fast enough to catch the fastest cycle. CO6 is one of the toughest levels in the run, because not only does it have a lot of cycles, but it also requires really good aim. At the beginning of the level, Roylo picks the jet squelcher. He needs to make sure that he picks it on the first frame possible as to not lose any time. Being slow on picking the jet squelcher will change where the boxes will be and completely throw off your muscle memory. There's also a degree of randomness to this level as well, as the jet squelcher doesn't have perfect accuracy, so sometimes you'll just miss a box for no reason. There are at least some backup strategies in case that happens, but this level can go really wrong really fast. But this is one of Roylo's best levels, so he's able to get the best cycle possible and beat the level in under 15 seconds. DO7 would usually be pretty uneventful, but there was a strategy found by top level runner and friend of the channel, Blue. By charging up a curling bomb at the end, it breaks a few boxes faster, saving around 1 second. Now we get to the most infamous level in all of Octo Expansion, Girl Power Station. Players have lost countless weeks and months trying to defeat this gauntlet of a challenge, often being the last level they will beat. But for speedrunners, this level is the easiest level in the game. I'm not kidding. Once you get into the arena, this level becomes an auto-scroller. The level doesn't end until the time runs out, so if you just memorize where all the Octarians spawn, then you won't have any trouble killing them. This level is just seen as a place where you can chill for 2 minutes before the next level. JO2, Matchmaster Station. This is the hardest level in the speedrun, so I'll just let it play out so you can be starstruck by the skill of Roylo. What just happened? Well, to start, the goal of this level is to destroy all the orange boxes without destroying any of the regular brown boxes. If you do, then you die. Most players would use the recommended squeezer to slowly break each box one by one, but Roylo chooses the Rapid Blaster Pro. This weapon can destroy multiple boxes at the same time, but damages a lot of the boxes around it, making it very easy to accidentally destroy when going for other shots. The route that Roylo takes has been very carefully thought out. Each shot is deliberate and takes hours of practice to just get right. Like this shot right here. You have to shoot in a near pixel perfect spot just so you can destroy all 4 boxes while getting the incline or not destroying any of the regular boxes. Top level runners have put well over 500 attempts of practice into this level just because of how difficult it is. That's only a small explanation of Matchmaster. There are so many small and minute strats all over this level that I can make a whole separate video going over it. So leave a comment if you'd like to see that, and make sure to subscribe since I'm the only person making Splatoon speedrunning videos and I think that you would like more of my content. To end off the Thang 1 section, we have JO1, a rematch between you and the Octo Shower from the Splatoon 2 hero mode, but this time you have the Inkjet. This fight used to be really hard, but speedrunners have found a way to make it very consistent. The first phase is very simple, just shoot the first 2 Octocoppers and react to where the third one will go. But in the second and third phases, speedrunners found that if you hold up forward on the control stick after the cutscene finishes, then that will manipulate where the Octo Shower will go. Then it's a matter of climbing up onto the center platform, shooting 2 of the Octocopters, then shooting the other 2 out of the sky to finish the fight. Now it's time to collect the first of the 4 Thangs. These levels aren't very eventful, it's just shooting the orb until it opens and you beat the level. Every other Thang level is like this, so I won't go into detail when they show up. After getting yelled at by the phone, Roylo pauses the game and chooses back to train. This skips the long cutscene of Cuttlefish getting into the train before it departs. Then he makes his way to the second Thang with JO4. Roylo needs to be careful when moving around this level since nearly all of it is made out of crates. Shooting the boxes underneath each enemy can be weirdly difficult sometimes, and we can see Roylo mess up one of the kills, costing him a small bit of time. At least he didn't die, which I wouldn't know anything about. The last level before Thang 2 is JO5, one of the dually grind rail levels. Grind rails force you to move at the same pace while shooting, but by using dually dodge rolls we can get a bit of extra speed. It's as simple as holding the shoot button and spamming B. At the end of the level, there's this giant grind rail that we had to go on, but we can skip some of it by jumping off right before the dip. This gives us just enough height to make it to the grind rail above us. After getting the second Thang, it's off off to the left side. Left side has easier levels on average compared to the right side, but that doesn't make it a walk in the park. Except for AO4, this level is actually a walk in the park. This level puts you into the bowler special and you have to make it to the goal. There are some tight jumps here and there, and if you're fast enough you can just barely catch the boost panel on the left side at the end. But top level runners have perfected this level. BO1 is another 8-ball level, and if you thought the first one was difficult, then you're not ready for this. Firstly, do you remember how I said that Octo expansion is based off an old version of Splatoon 2? That also means that Splash does not have perfect jump accuracy in this game, making it more difficult to control the 8-ball. And secondly, this level is secretly a cycle level. This seesaw at the end is going up and down every 7 seconds from the moment that you load into the level. This is important because we use the seesaw to skip getting this key, but the skip itself is very difficult. You have to align both yourself and the 8-ball in just the right spot to get the trick to work. One small mistake and you die. Roylo gets the fastest BO1 cycle ever achieved, getting to the seesaw 1 cycle earlier than was thought possible, turning this good run into something great. All that Roylo has to do now is not mess up. They say that Octo expansion runs don't actually start until after BO1. At least AO2 is a nice and easy level. This is basically an auto-scroller for top runners. They only have to do 4 shots and the Octolings don't pose a threat. GO6 is the other dually grind rail level in the run, and it can be quite difficult. You have to jump off at just the right time to use this box as a shortcut and time a dodge roll to take this gap jump. But the hardest strategy in the level is at the beginning. By going through the rail at the right time and doing a dodge roll, you can save a good chunk of time from not needing to ride the rail. The next level tests how calm you can stay under pressure because it requires aim and it's on a cycle. In GO5, you have to use the jet squelcher to destroy 20 boxes without destroying any of the red balloons. Roylo doesn't waste any time and destroys each box quickly and efficiently. He throws a splat bomb into this cluster of boxes to destroy 6 at once. The last level before getting the third thing is GO4. Speedrunners pick the Splat Charger for this level. Chargers are known for being very slow, but the reason they pick it in this level is because of the Burst Bomb. Burst Bomb allows you to move around the level way quicker than if you're using the recommended Splash or Junior. Roylo does 2 tricks in this level. The first one is the Furler boost. Furlers extend when ink touches them, so if you can time a furler extending while you're on it, then you can move with the furler. Roylo accomplishes this by throwing a burst bomb in the air, then getting onto the furler before it extends. While he's riding the furler, he charges up the charger to shoot 2 Octarians as soon as possible. The other trick is called a nollie. By holding out your sub weapon on a grind rail and timing a jump, you can get more distance. This skips a lot of swimming. After getting the third thing, Captain Cuttlefish asks you to describe Agent 3 so you can put up a wanted poster for them. It's very important to use the default character and not mismenu anything. If you click try again at the end, then he will scribble it all out and you have to go through it all again. IO5 is another grind rail level. Roylo tries to reduce airtime as much as possible all throughout the level. He also needs to make sure that he doesn't get hit or else he'll fall off and have to do the whole stage again. If his movement is all good, then he won't need a jump to avoid these spinners in this section, saving valuable time. Now I've called a lot of these levels so far some of the hardest levels in the game, but IO4 is pure torture. You have to beat this level without touching enemy ink, which by itself isn't too hard if you're taking your time. But this is a speedrun, and not only that, this is at the end of the regular game, so all the stress is on you during this level. Roylo picks the Squiffer with the curling bomb. Since this is the older version of the game, Squiffer doesn't have its perfect charge speed in the air. Roylo mainly uses curling bombs to move around the level. In the middle of the level, there are these enemies that come down from the air once you defeat all the enemies on the ground. We can get past this by making sure this Octarian doesn't die. If he doesn't die, then the rest of the enemies won't spawn. The end section is the most terrifying part of the level. If you make one wrong step, then you're sent to the last checkpoint. Luckily, Roylo keeps his calm and makes his way to the last level before thing 4, IO3. This level is basically an auto-scroller. Just make sure that the orb doesn't get destroyed. Once you learn how the cannon projectiles work, then this level shouldn't be a problem. Roylo beats this level while having the orb take just a little bit of damage. The Metro split was 40 minutes and 1 second, the best Metro ever played. This is undoubtedly the best pace he's ever been on. Now it's time to lock in. Now it's time for the escape sequence. Escape is split up into 7 distinct sections, each one harder than the last. Escape 1, the Coccyx section, is meant to be a stealth mission. However, we don't have to take our time and can swim past most of the guards. In the middle section, we can jump from this ink rail onto a section earlier than intended. This skips a cycle of table rotating. This phase is the easiest part of escape. Next up is Escape 2, the Villi phase. This is where you get your Splat Bomb and your Octo Shot, but this is where the worst trick in the run shows up, Octo Shot skip. After you get your Splat Bombs, you can use them to scale this wall where you'll find a switch. If you had the Octo Shot, then it's as simple as shooting the switch and beating the phase, but Splat Bombs have ink fly out after an explosion. Do you remember at the beginning of the video when I said that pellet drops from a Splat Bomb are completely random? Well, here we have to throw a Splat Bomb onto this wall and pray that the random pellets that come out land on the small and minute switch. It is not recommended that you do this skip until you're contending for world records, and even then it might not be worth it. You don't want to have the greatest main game ever just to lose it from RNG in just 2 phases of escape. But Roylo goes for it and doesn't get it first try, or even on his second try, but he does get it on his 3rd try. The luck needed to get this is stupid. I want you, yes you, to open your copy of Octo Expansion, go to Escape 2, and try to get Octo Shot skip just once. Now imagine doing it on world record pace. Now imagine getting it within 3 tries. Roylo knows that this is the run of his life, and he has to perform under this pressure. A run like this might never happen again. Doesn't help that he now has to do one of the hardest strategies in the game. In Escape 3, the belly phase, there's a fast cycle you can go for where you have to rush to the last block before it sinks. Roylo only has a few frames to spare when going for it. By doing this fast cycle in the beginning, it also makes it possible to do a fast cycle in the middle as well. This cycle skips having to use the boost panel, saving a couple of seconds. In Escape 4, the intestinal phase, Roylo goes as fast as he can throughout the level. If any of the lasers touch him, then he dies immediately. At the end of the section, there's a strategy you can go for called laser skip. There's a couple pixel gap between each laser that's just barely big enough for your squid to fit through. This skip can be very risky to go for, but there have been more consistent setups made over the years, and Roylo successfully got it. In Escape 5, the diaphragm phase, you're equipped with the inkjet and have to collect 8 data pods to move on in the escape. You can collect these data pods in any order you want, but this route is the most optimal. When collecting the 3rd data point, speedrunners will spam B and hold right so that the boost will come out as soon as the cutscene's over. On the 6th data point, runners use the exhaust from the inkjet to ink the wall so they can then shoot the switch and stay on the wall. But once that's all over, there are only 2 phases left. Escape 6, the Peristalsis phase, is one of those levels where it's the most difficult thing of all time until you actually understand how to beat it. You have to transport this energy core to the end of the stage to power the machine. Speedrunners found by doing a certain amount of shots with certain timing, then you'll get the same result every time, and this is how it goes. At the start, runners will jump over this line and throw a Splat Bomb. Then they'll wait until their ink is back at the subline and then count out 8 shots. After the 8th shot, they throw another Splat Bomb and pop this balloon. This will drop an intake recovery item. They then stand on the outside of the platform while still shooting the energy core 1 shot at a time. After they get by these Octarians, they go back to the center of the platform and keep shooting 1 shot at a time. After this section with the spinners, speedrunners will shoot the energy core 1 more time, throw a Splat Bomb, and kill this Octo Bomber. Then they'll pick up this intake refill and do 4 more shots before throwing another Splat Bomb. After that, they keep doing small tap shots. At the final checkpoint, they'll do a 7-5-7 setup. 7 shots before the first switch, 5 shots to the next one, and then another 7 to the one afterwards. And just like that, they are home free. Only one phase is left between Roylo and world record glory. Escape 7, the spinal phase. While riding the elevator, speedrunners can do a trick to skip part of it. They wait until they see this 1 on the side of the wall, then they count out a second and jump off the elevator. This will respawn them at the top of the Agent 3 boss fight. Agent 3 is a relatively easy boss fight. The struggle is trying to keep your nerves together while you're fighting them. In the first phase, Roylo throws a splat bomb at Agent 3's feet after they land. This will do a big chunk of damage. Then all you have to do is shoot them. In phase 2, speedrunners watch where Agent 3 will land and shoot the bullet into the corner, basically putting Agent 3 in jail. In phase 3, Agent 3 will shoot a stingray at the player, but a well-timed splat bomb and a couple of shots will clear this phase out quick. Then once you think the fight is over, Agent 3 has one last phase, the splashdown phase. Agent 3 will continuously splash down in different areas of the arena. Roylo throws a splat bomb at their feet and was able to defeat her in one cycle. After this, there are a couple of unskippable cutscenes and the big turf war fight. Turf war will always be 3 minutes long, so this is basically an auto-scroller. Roylo uses this time to draw out a smiley face and jams out to Fly Octo Fly. Beating the Splatoon 2 Octo Expansion DLC in 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 40 seconds. So what's next for Octo Expansion? Honestly, any percent is dead, at least for the time being. This is one of those rare speedruns that is genuinely perfect, and no one is even close to beating it. The second place time is 50 seconds behind Roylo, and I foresee this record standing for multiple years untouched. The only way this record is beaten is if the Switch 2 load times are crazy enough for Roylo to destroy his own record. But the craziest thing about this run is that it was casually done in an 80% Quinfecta relay. Splatoon is known for its competitive 4v4 gameplay, bringing people together to battle it out and see who are the best players in the world. But in the background, speedrunners have been competing against themselves to see who can beat the Splatoon 3 story mode as fast as possible. Currently, the record stands at a 5350 by Salt29yo. So how do these speedrunners take this 8.5 hour long campaign and complete it in under an hour? Let's find out. The timer starts as we enter the story mode, but before that, we have to do a little bit of preparation. In the character customization screen, we need to make sure that Lil Buddy has this haircut, as each Lil Buddy haircut actually affects egg loop positions and boss RNG. We also have to make sure we are in Inkopolis Plaza, the Splatoon 1 hub world, which means that technically this speedrun is pay to win. Speedrunners also enter the show as it's believed to save on load times, even though that hasn't yet been proven. Now that the run has actually started, we begin in the crater, aka Tutorial Island. The crater consists of 4 simplistic levels and a boss fight at the end. But even here, there are a lot of time saves. In level 2, speedrunners will paint the ground to charge up their special weapon, the Splashdown. This special sends you up into the air and then straight back down with a massive explosion. But instead of using that big explosion, speedrunners will purposely jump off the map and use the height gained from the splashdown to hit a checkpoint further into the level. Once respawning, they paint the wall, climb around, hit the boost panel, and beat the level. What if I told you there's an even more insane skip in the crater? In level 3, speedrunners clip Lil Buddy into the box to turn on the ink rail without even using a key to open it. This allows them to bring this key over to the main island where they can use said key to open up the box. They then do another Lil Buddy clip to activate the ink rail and beat the level. In level 4, speedrunners don't implement any skips, they just go through the level really fast. But they do some fast strategies like squid surges and throwing Lil Buddy over this wall to kill an Octarian, all to save a couple of seconds. In the Octavio boss fight, speedrunners are careful when and where to use their splashdowns. Octavio has 4 types of attacks: the fist, the spin, the palm, and the vacuum. Speedrunners use the hero shot to shoot down the fist, and splashdown to take care of the spin and palm attacks. This is because Splashdown can tank the armor and hit it back on the first possible second, whereas you'd have to wait for them to land to be able to shoot them back with the hero shot. As for the vacuum, that can be ignored. Octavio will jump to certain platforms during the fight that are slightly lower, making it faster to hit the fists back. This is because of the hair that we give little buddy at the beginning of the run. Once Octavio has been defeated, speedrunners will close and reopen the game. This is because usually there's a long cutscene after the fight where you get sent down to Alterna. If we close and reopen the game, we can skip the cutscene. This is why we use Ecopolis Plaza as our hub world. Whenever we have to reload the game, we go to the plaza, and since it's the smallest out of all the hub worlds, we save time on load times. When we come back to Alterna, we meet the Squid Sisters and Captain 3 as we go to the first level. This is where we start to see the importance of power eggs. Power eggs allow you to break the ooze and continue on in the game, so it's very important that we have enough after every level. That means breaking these 2 balloons at the start, breaking this box, and jumping through both of these squid rings. Then once we get to 2 keys, we can perform a skip. Usually you would have to go over and complete this obstacle course to get a 3rd key to unlock all the boxes and get to the goal. But after getting the 2nd key, if you get the right angle and line up on the very edge and do a squid roll to the left, you can skip unlocking the first box, allowing you to unlock the other 2 boxes with your 2 keys and beat the level, leaving level 1 with 727 power eggs. On our way to the next level, we will get the sunken scroll from the ground. We'll be getting a lot of things from the ground during the run, like sardinians, decorations, and CDs, as they give upgrade points. You can spend these upgrade points on a skill tree. This will be very important to upgrade during the run, as it gives you buffs that we don't want to miss out on. Then we enter level 2 and we're already out of there. This is the shortest level in the run and the last. Then we make this jump from the kettle to the ledge above and make a beeline from the world exit, getting a sardinium and power eggs off the ground as we go. In order to get to the next world without using power eggs, speedrunners do this very tight jump to just barely get across. Then the next skip in the run takes place, deep cut cutscene skip. Usually before entering World 2, you'd have to watch this long cutscene where Deep Cut introduce themselves, but we can skip that. By swimming forward right after the fuzzball hitbox disappears at a certain angle, we can bypass the cutscene trigger and go straight to Site 2. I want to give shoutouts to Adept CS and Alpha Omega for helping me to understand some of the more technical parts of the run. If you want to start speedrunning Splatoon, the link to the community Discord will be in the description. In Site 2, speedrunners will pick up some ground loot and open up level 2-3. Once they get the Sardinium, they will start upgrading their hero gear. They get special charge up and better hero shot, as those 2 are the most important upgrades in the whole game. They then spend more time going around the site collecting power eggs that just barely have enough to skip playing any actual levels and go straight to the boss fight against Fry. The Fry boss fight is filled with RNG. In phase 1, she can either go for this dash attack or go for the vision attack. Speedrunners will want to get the vision attack because it saves a few seconds. In phase 2, Fry spawns eels to attack the runner, and it's completely RNG how many will spawn. She can spawn a range of 3 to 6 eels. In the world record, they get 4. In phase 3, speedrunners will use a splashdown to try and clear as many eels as they can in one go. In the world record, they get a very quick 1 cycle. Just like that, Fry has been defeated and it's off to Site 3. In Site 3, they carefully navigate themselves around the fuzzy ink and grab a bunch of collectibles off the ground. Then we'll utilize a technique called a level jump. Once you've opened the kettle for a level, you can super jump to it at any time. So if we jump off the map and unlock this kettle right here, we can respawn and jump to that kettle to skip using power eggs to remove some fuzzy ooze. We are now at the end of the site with only a wall of fuzzy ooze stopping us from getting to Site 4. But we can actually skip this by doing a trick called Moxie Skip. By carefully dying near the back of the fuzzy ooze, we can trick the game into respawning us in front of the kettle. This allows us to leave the site with 302 power eggs and no levels played. At the start of Site 4, speedrunners will jump off the map to respawn in the middle of the area, saving just a few seconds. They then go around the whole site doing the collectible hunt, even doing a level jump and a tight squid roll to bypass removing the fuzzy ooze. They then perform a trick called Shiver Clip, where they use this collectible to clip into the wall so then they can unlock the Shiver boss fight without destroying the fuzzy ooze. This leads us into the hardest trick of the run. Shiver Skip. In the Shiver boss fight, by luring Master Mega to lock onto you to do his bite attack, then by squid rolling right on the edge as he jumps up to bite you, you get sent way up in the air. But hold on, how are you flying? It's a result of your state getting locked from the game initially thinking that you're in range of Master Mega's attack, but with the roll, you have enough speed to get out of the range of the bite before it occurs, meaning that the game doesn't unlock your state until you splash down. Since the goal is always loaded in, once we get to the platform, we can beat the boss. But once that's all done, we can move on to Site 5 with 1902 power eggs. Site 5 is the shortest site in the entire run, as it only lasts a minute, but that doesn't mean there isn't anything cool. There are a lot of tight jumps in order to make it through the site without spending power eggs, including Owen Skip, where you have to precisely gush a squid roll mega jump onto a speck of ink that the fuzzy ooze just barely doesn't cover. But once we're in Site 6, this is where the fruits of our labor pay off, as all that time running around the sites getting power eggs will be used here. As we have 1202 power eggs entering the site, it just barely gives us enough to clear all the necessary fuzzy ooze to be able to get to the big man boss fight, and with 2 power eggs to spare. In the boss fight, Big Man turns into a manta ray from Mario Sunshine, and you have to try and find where the real one is. Most players would have the sensor upgrade by this point, where it will help you find where the real Big Man is. Doing this fight without the sensor would usually be very painful because then it's just impossible to tell where the real Big Man is and you would just have to guess. But Big Man's patterns are actually decided by which little buddy haircut you pick at the beginning of the game. So now it's just a matter of learning his pattern and beating him up. Once speedrunners beat Big Man and collect the last bit that we need, they will close and exit the game once again to skip a long cutscene. Now it's time for the final part of the game, the rocket. Usually when we go to the rocket, Deep Cut will yet again stop us with a big long cutscene like in Site 1, but we can do a trick called Nether Skip to bypass it. By going right at the beginning and inking this wall, speedrunners can barely stay on it and perform a squid surge to gain extra height to land on the area above. This skips the cutscene trigger and allows them to go straight to the rocket sequence. In a normal playthrough, this section requires the player to complete 6 main parts of the rocket before a big boss fight at the end. But in a speedrun, we only have to do 3. After completing the first section normally, you're sent to this place outside the rocket. This is where we can do a trick called Switch Skip. If you've watched any of my mod playthroughs, then you are definitely used to this. By breaking these 2 boxes and then precisely squid rolling onto this pole, the game makes you keep going up the pole. If you hold left near the top, then you can land on this area you're not normally supposed to get to. Then by using these boxes to walk across the area and falling down in this particular place, you will start walking on air until you drop down and boom, you skipped half of the rocket sequence. Now all that's left to do is the last 2 sections before the final boss. There's still one trick to talk about though. Section 6 makes you use the Zipcaster special to grab these energy cells to power the rocket. But by zipcasting into this wall whilst a cutscene of a new section opening up plays, you will get pushed out of bounds. Then all you have to do is use the Zipcaster from the outside and carefully zipping to random invisible walls to make it to the final boss. After an encounter with Mr. Grizz, it's time to go into space and show him what we're made of. This is one of the most stressful moments in the speedrun because of how tight your movement has to be and knowing that one wrong jump ruins your chances of the world record. But thankfully for us, Salt29YO shows us how to beat Mr. Grizz in style.
落ち着けマジで落ち着け。いやもう大声。よっしゃ
And just like that, Splatoon 3 has been beaten in 53 minutes and 50 seconds. If you enjoyed the breakdown, please subscribe to the channel, as that lets me know that you want more Splatoon speedrunning content. I also do speedruns and my own mod challenges on twitch.tv/ethan_stone_. Side Order has been out for a few days now, so I hope that you guys have been enjoying it. I know I have, but speedrunners have been meticulously grinding the game, trying to get faster and faster times, and the current world record is below 5 minutes. So in today's video, I'm going to be looking at the world record, I'm going to be reviewing it, I'm going to show you all the strats they employ, and hopefully you learn something and you can implement it into your own runs so you can get faster and faster times. Now to start off here, they are going to be using Charger throughout the entirety of this run, and you might be thinking to yourself, Charger, that doesn't seem very good. Charger very slow, very immobile compared to something like a shooter or a brush or something. But with these chips, these support purple chips, once you get enough of them, you'll start to see that Charger becomes so OP that it basically ruins every single bit of challenge in this game. And the important chips that you want to look out for is Quick Charge, the aimbot one, and Main Saver. Those are the big three that they're going to be looking out for in this run. They already have one chip of that Quick Charge, and they're on the portal level, and they just beat it. They nearly died there, but it's all good. They have the hacks on because this is New Game Plus, so they're allowed to use hacks, and that was a really fast level. And lucky for them, they get another Quick Charge chip on floor 2. They already have 2 Quick Charge chips. That is a really lucky start as well. And more portals. You'll begin to see in this run that they only really like to go for portals and 8-ball, because portal and 8-ball are the quickest levels to do in the entire game. And there we go. That level only took 11 seconds. And that's only on floor 2. You can imagine how much it's gonna be, how fast they're gonna go as we go higher up the spire. But there we go, another Quick Charge chip on floor 3. Floor 3, 3 Quick Charge chips. That's already pretty good. And they're just gonna be getting luckier and luckier with their chip pools throughout the rest of the run. And here's another level that they want to be looking for, these runaway fish levels. As you can see, you can get them done very, very fast, especially later once you get the aimbot chips. You can do them insanely quickly. Like, I'm going to show a clip from Twitter. You can do these insanely quickly, and later in the run, it's going to get to that point. And through some rerolls, they get a 2 times Quick Charge chip, which means that at floor 4, they already have max Quick Charge. That is going to be insanely broken throughout the rest of the run. Look how quickly that fires. That's basically like a Grizzco Charger. And you guys already see, oh my god, that portal's already done. The only real problem now is ink management. And that's what Main Saver they're going to get in the rest of the run. That's where it's going to be really important. And just from me talking about that, floor 4 is cleared in 13 seconds. That's absolutely insane. And now here we are going into vending machines. You guys have already seen these on your runs before. Vending machines are very important. They're basically a free floor, because how the timer works is that at the end of the run, the game adds together all the levels, the in-game times, adds them together, and that's your score. The vending machine, it's basically 0 seconds. You get a free floor from that. So basically every vending machine they're gonna take, and they also get some free chips from that, which is incredible. They're also gonna be using floor reset a lot, trying to be getting those purple chips, and be gonna search out for the chips that they want. Ink recovery is also very good, because it's basically a backup strat in case they don't get enough Main Saver chips throughout the run. Here comes, I thought this was 8-ball, but here comes the portals. You'll see how, oh my god, they just do it again. They just keep doing it. And one left, and I'm guessing this is like 10 seconds. A little bit slow there because they didn't have the main saver. But that was 11 seconds on the 6th floor. You can just see how insanely quickly they go. And again, the vending machine popped up. They're gonna go for it. Even if they don't see anything nice in the vending machine, they can just leave and it's all good. There it is, the homing shots. Homing shot on the fish one is a very good pull. Homing shots is a necessity if you're gonna play Charger. Some people just reset their runs and they just don't get homing shots quick enough. And you're gonna see that in full action here. They're just gonna line them up. They're gonna be in the reticle, shoot, die, die. Boom, it's all done in a matter of like 5-6 seconds. There we go, 6 seconds. Absolutely insanity. And vending machine again, insane first phase of the run, the first 10 floors going absolutely incredibly. And then they can go on to the next boss fight. And he gets another homing shot from the vending machine. You only really need 2 or 3 homing shots in the run. You don't really need many of them, and that's the good thing. They're gonna reset the boss. Gonna get layered rotator floor. That's gonna be really good. You can shred the boss really quickly, and that's gonna be incredible for the build that they are running right now. I remember the first time that I fought this boss. It took me a while, and you're just gonna see 3B go to town on this boss. Already doing that, the bomb's going out. 3B doesn't even care, just absolutely shredding the boss with the aimbot. Doesn't even have to aim, has the powerful shots with the quick charge, and there's the triple ink strike. Not even gonna use it because the boss is already down. Insane moves from here, and the first boss is down. And only in 29 seconds. That was absolute insanity. Now, talking more about the floors, the main ones that you want to be looking for, of course, is the portals. You can just shoot them really fast. You can clear them fast. The run away fish, also really good. Just aimbot onto them, kill them real quickly. 8-ball is also, it's not really much of a priority, but 8-ball is also good. You can do that quickly. The main ones that you don't really want is the propeller one, the one where you just keep shooting and it goes along a path. That is very slow, but you can do it fast. The big one that you just do not want to do at all is zones, because zones right now is basically just an auto scroller. You can't really go fast in splat zones. You just have to wait for the zone to tick down and beat it. And that's why in many speedruns, you just don't see zones get played at all. People will purposely not go for chips that they like. If it's on zones, they'll just re-roll. A lot of people don't know this, but if you keep stacking the same type of color chip, you get a big pearls bonus at the end of your run. It's gonna be very interesting to see how many pearls that they get at the end. It's probably gonna be like 1,000 or something, 800 maybe. The absolute insanity that you can get from doing these basically pure one color chip challenges is insane. They get another vending machine, which is a free floor. Gonna see what's at the vending machine. Even if they get nothing, they can just leave. It literally doesn't matter. And they get another vending machine again because it's on floor 15. 2 free floors in a row. That's really lucky. Even again, let's look. Is there anything? Main range? That is good for the Charger, increasing that range basically to E-liter range. Gonna be very good. At this point, they're just gonna be looking for a main saver at this point, and 3 back-to-back vending machines, one after another. At this point, their in-game time is like a minute or something. The game sees that they've played like a minute of the game, and they're probably gonna not completely buy out the refill ink by defeating enemies. It is sort of a substitute to Ink Saber main. Are they gonna take this? They are gonna take it because it's just a quick and easy portal level. There's sort of a priority. They got all the chips that they wanted in the early game, so now in the later parts of the game, they can just look for quick and easy loads that they can do. Look how quickly, not even a second in, already got one. And that one left. Oh wow, I wonder how fast they get it. it ruins all the challenge in the game, but it's so incredibly cool to see it all going, and in 10 seconds, it's all done. And another vending machine to back that off. What is the vending machine count on this run already? They're only on floor 18, and they've probably gotten like 5 or 6 vending machines. And it's kind of insane. Are they going to take the burst bomb? No, they're not going to take the burst bomb. They're not going to waste their chips on a sub weapon that they're probably not even going to use because they just have the broken charger. And now we're onto the spinner boss. And you have just seen at this point, it literally doesn't matter what chips that they get. They are just, the priority now is just go as fast as possible. It's already cracked. Just one more phase, I think that's it. And the boss is done. Already. That was way too fast. My god, man. Floor 20 cleared in how many seconds? 21 seconds for a boss. You can see they take the capture because it was just that fast. That's how you, if a speedrunner notices that something is fast and they have to take a screenshot, you know that it was fast. Watch how fast it's gonna happen. Gonna lock on, and it's already done. It's already done. I'm sorry if you just came back from the toilet, you took a little bit of a break, but you skip like 5 floors. If you blink, you're gonna miss something in this run. It just happens that fast, and they got so lucky in the early game, getting the chips that they wanted, getting like max charge speed in the beginning was so lucky. And honestly, New Game Plus might be dead at this point. This might be the god run, and it's only been 3 days. That's insane luck. The odds of getting that luck again, or even getting better luck, like no one's really going to be getting better luck than what we're looking at right here. It all just comes down to execution, and they're already doing pretty good execution. They're going to be taking the hard portals. It looks like, as you can see, they've basically only been taking portals and runaway fish because those are the fastest ones to do. I said that in the beginning, and you just keep seeing that here. They only take portals, they only take runaway fish, and they just keep doing it as quickly as possible. These people have grinded out the game. It's only been out for 72 hours, but they already have the most amount of hours than anyone. Look at that. Have they even used their special once? I don't think they have. It's just that useless to them at this point because their charger just carries them through the entire run. As you can see there was Inksaver main, but it's on zones, and zones just don't do zones at all. That is a perfect example of not doing zones at all. There's so much of a time waster that even if a god ability or chip is on there, you just don't do it. It's just that much of a time loss. Oh, now a danger. No pearl drone. No item drops. Literally doesn't matter because all they need is charger. It doesn't matter. Floor 27 is already cleared in 6 seconds with a danger penalty. Alright, heading into the control room. The final boss. Absolutely perfect run so far. Now, I remember on my first attempt, this took me way too long. But absolutely shredding the boss. It doesn't even matter. They're just gonna line up. Boom, you cracked it. Boom, he's dead. And that was already phase 1 done. That was absolutely insane power that came out of the charger there. It's just more portals, which is perfect for this weapon. And it's gonna go destroy Smosk once again. Gonna keep shooting, and it's already over. Going into the last phase here. Gonna just... There's a lot of waiting around at this point. Just waiting for the portals to spawn. There they go. One already down. Smalls are going to try and throw down like... Oh, there's the resliders coming out. Those resliders are so annoying. But it literally doesn't matter for the charger. Look, the portal is basically already done. Oh my god. Gonna just start throwing ink strikes, getting them a little bit low. Gonna spam Smalls. And the run is done. That was side order completed in 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Absolutely incredible. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you check out the original run. It's in the description. This run was so good, and I'll see you